says you're muted. It says you're muted. Can't hear you. No.
Yes. Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Everybody, I'm so sorry. We had some technical difficulties because my daughter decided to hook up her Oculus, those like virtual VR things, to my big computer. And I'm under the weather. So I was like kind of waiting till the last minute, and I shouldn't have done that. So, that's what happens when you do things at the last minute. All this stuff kind of happens. And that's the joy of live streaming. Live.
Yes.
Everybody, do you guys know Sir Ashley, the most famous royal man of real estate on YouTube?
Hello, everyone. Hello.
We've got some good stuff going on today. You know what we got going on? We're going to talk about housing crash. We're going to be talking about housing prices. We're going to do a little comparison of what happened in years past 2008 and how many times we've heard housing crash. Because I honestly, I read this article. I believe it was from Realtor.
I think can anybody hear? Can you hear Kristina? Sorry, we were having audio issues.
Kristina, come here.
There we go. Look at Eddie to the rescue.
Come
Eddie
here.
to the rescue. All right. So we are going to compare data for the last, I would say there's an article for the last about 10 years. And it was quite surprising how often we heard about a housing crash occurring every single year. Did it happen? I guess you'll have to stick around and we can talk about the data. But...
No. It didn't happen. It never happens.
Nice.
But I do think we're going to get a housing correction. I think that is going to happen.
Yeah, I do. But did you say? Keep talking, Kristina.
No
make
sound
sure
again, Eddie.
No, I hear you. I hear you now.
Eddie Smallhorn. This is not working.
No, we hear you.
I can't hear anything. Eddie,
you can't hear.
We're going
anything.
back.
All right. So that is the joy of doing it live. And Kristina mentioned that she believes there will be a correction, and I believe so too. So I just hope that everybody that's been on the sidelines have been prepping, and we'll get into what prepping is to be able to take advantage of this correction. We're going to get it together, Debbie. Say something, Kristina. Hello? No. No. It's okay. We're going to get through this, everyone. Thank you for being patient. We definitely appreciate you. And you are going to want to stick around because we're going to get through this, get past this audio issue, and then get into this article that I am very, very pleased that she brought. Well, I read it. I read it.
You can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you. But then when she said we were going to talk about it, I was like, yes, let's do it.
All right, let's find the article.
Can you hear us?
Which one you want? Which article are we going to pull up first?
Let's go Logan's Housing Wire one.
Oh, the Housing Wire one. Okay, yeah. I'm going to pull that up right now. Matter of fact, you know what's kind of good that's kind of happened because my husband has to leave in a short bit anyway, so this kind of all worked out. Eddie, don't worry about connecting that because every time you connect it over there, it connects to this computer over here. That's what's going on. So Uh-oh. Now what happened to Sir Ashley? Uh-oh. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're gonna share. We're gonna share. This is what happens, Share screen. We're gonna pull up the window. We're gonna pull up the housing wire. Do want to say thank you to Mr. Stufflebean today. StreamYard and the housing wire and share. Okay, here we go. There we are. Housing prices are about to fall. How to make sense of this crazy real estate market. And it says a short history of the housing crash narrative. When they said the shadow inventory would cause prices to fall, the reality, the inventory broke down in 2012, and the monthly supply data got below 6 months. The shadow inventory was not an issue, as it took years to get rid of the distressed supply of housing bubble from the housing bubble years ago. Let me see if Sir Ashley's back. Here we go.
I'm back.
Oh, there you are. You're back. This is just one of those things. We're doomed today. We're just doomed.
It's okay. It's all right.
Okay, but then this is the fun, like the next part. It said in 2013, the last time they said that we were going to crash, it was because mortgage rates were on the rise and the Fed was tapering housing, and it would crash again. The reality, the 10-year yield shot up from 1.6 to 3%. Sound familiar? Making the housing cool down noticeable. Nominal home prices growth cooled, but we had no negative year-over-year price declines, as inventory did not even get over the 5 months even back then. In 2014, when they said the housing would crash because purchase application data was down 20% year over year, adjusting to the population, it was the lowest ever. Total inventory grew this year, and the sales were negative. This was the last time total inventory grew in America. The reality, even though sales fell and inventory grew, nominal home prices did not decline, since the monthly supply of homes never came close to breaking the 6 months. This is another time. 2015, we're gonna crash. When they said this was a silver tsunami, and I remember this specifically.
Yes.
The baby boomers are turning 62 in 2008 and 2015. Thus, the 2015 was the start of what they said was a mass downsizing that would collapse prices because nobody could buy a home from boomers, and they needed to discount their net value by 70% to have a smaller home and to live in. The reality, the silver tsunami never happened. It was supposed to be a decade of a long process going on to 2025, and it still hasn't happened. That's because where are they going to go? And if the interest rates are this high, they're not going anywhere. All right. 2016, when they said the next crash, they said because manufacturing was in a recession and stocks pulled back 15%, people were pushing in a general recession premise. The reality, home prices grew because the inventory fell once again. There's a treadmill challenging for a recession. All right. In 2017, they said it again because home prices were back to that housing bubble peak and prices had to crash. The reality, the inventory fell once again and home prices rose. 2018, they said with home mortgage rates rising to 5% and new sales sector getting hard hit, the housing crash. The reality, home existing sales in the marketplace were in much better shape. Sales fell, but total inventory still did not grow. The monthly supply increased as long as it took longer to buy homes. There was no inventory growth. The purchase application data were only negative for 3 weeks out of that whole entire year. Oh my God, we keep going and going and going.
Going.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing with all of this. I mean, we all know what happened in 2019, 2020, 2021. And what is the common denominator in all of this? Sir Ashley, do you know?
No.
Supply. There's just no supply of homes.
Yes.
And so that's where the biggest thing is. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that home prices are not going to take a hit coming up in certain markets. I talked to two agents over the actually I've talked to three agents over the week, and one of them was coming out of the Phoenix market. And she
Hmm.
said they've had price reductions. They've seen a lot more price reductions, and they've seen a more of a supply of homes, but they're nowhere near where they need to be to be considered a bad market. Like they
No.
still do not have a 6 month supply of homes on the market. So yes, they are seeing reductions. There's a lot more reductions than there had been previous. Like days on the market is a little bit longer, but they're not seeing a crash of home housing prices. So
And that's what we're seeing in North Carolina as well. And I say all of North Carolina just because, well, the primary regions of North Carolina, the Charlotte region, which I'm in, and I have team members and have access to the data in the Triad area and the Triangle area, the Raleigh area.
mhm,
And we have seen where there's been price reductions. That happens, but those are the ones when the sellers just weren't reasonable to begin with the
mhm.
asking price. And but one thing we have seen is that either inventory in certain areas, the triangle has stayed consistent to last year. I mean, days on market consistent to last year, or they've actually gone down. So it depends on where you are, and real estate is very hyper local, as you said.
Yep, 100%. And here's another thing. This is the person I was talking to in the Phoenix area. She said we have less than 2 months supply in my market in Phoenix. She
Yeah.
also said they had price reductions. They're happening, but it's not a crash. But I would say if you were in the market and you were thinking about buying a house, this might be the time that you could probably get a really good deal because
Yeah.
some sellers are going to be more open to the idea of looking at your offer. They're not going to be such jerks about it. And if you had
Yeah.
the ability to buy a house this year, and even though let's just say that the interest rates are a little bit higher, you might be getting a better deal because they're willing to negotiate the price down. Maybe you wouldn't have to do the price, bidding wars, and you wouldn't be paying over. So it might end up working out the same.
So I'm glad you touched on that. Like, how should buyers act now, and what should
Hmm.
they be doing? That is excellent advice. I would do the same thing. I would tell them to look. You don't need every home price to decline for you to get a good deal. You just
Right.
need to find that one seller
Hmm.
that is desperate or feeling like you can use this news against them, right? Everybody's
Hmm.
talking about market crash and all that. You can be like, look, and when you talk to the agent or however it may be, have your agent talk to them like, look, there's a crash coming. Your client does not want to be holding on to this property as interest rates go up. Less people will be able to get approved. This is a solid offer. You need to consider this.
Hmm.
And sellers, some of them will panic and either just take that offer or end up reducing to or coming down to your offer. Um, so I believe you should use that to your advantage. I know I've had some clients use that. We used that strategy recently, and it worked for us.
Right, because all the headlines are scary
Yeah.
to sellers. So they're like, "Oh my gosh, this market's turned. This is it. This
Hmm.
is it. We better take it." And if they don't get like 47 offers on the first day or even the third day, they're like, "That's it. Drop
Yep.
it. Drop it $10,000. Drop it 20,000." Like so this
Yeah.
could be the story for you. I mean, those I'm not saying that there is still the possibility of a crash in the housing market. There always is. I do not have a crystal ball. My prediction is this: if the jobs market continues to stay the way it is, which is we still keep increasing jobs, we're not going to see crash until the job market falls or some other major financial sector collapses. Then the housing market will collapse because we're
So
individual investors. But what do you say, Sir Ashley?
my question is, well, to you and to everybody watching, your audience, what do you, in the comment section, please put, what do you consider a crash? Is it a 10% decline? Is it a 20%? Is it a 30%? Like, what is a housing crash?
My assumption of this would be
Hmm.
that home prices that have been gained over the last 3 years
Yeah.
would be removed, and we're
Okay.
back to 2018 prices. To me,
Okay. Yes.
that would be a significant amount of equity that would be lost in your home that you
Yeah.
gained in the last 3 years, and that would be a crash to me.
I'm with you. Okay, so let's play that out, right? Let's
Uh-huh.
just hypothetically, you go back
Hmm.
to 2018. Interest rates in 2018, I remember because I bought a home then,
Okay.
was right around 5, a little, it was over 5, and people were freaking
Okay.
out then. That's when the president at the time was telling the Fed to lower rates and lower rates. Even then, houses sat on the market a little bit longer. Days on
Hmm.
market did increase. But
Hmm.
if you look at the end of the year, prices still went up.
Hmm.
So that puts us, and the question I have to the people that did not buy in 2018 but could have, why didn't you do it then? Were you waiting for a crash then? Because the only thing is you just waited, what, 3.5, 4 years, and now you're still, if there is a crash, we'll be in the same spot. Interest rates will be right around the same area.
So I got a little message here. It says in the U.S., 38% of homes are free of mortgages, giving
Mm-hmm.
their owners peace of mind during
Yeah,
the
yeah.
financial times.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the pandemic settling many families, the small percentage had either paid off their home before the pandemic or managed to finish the process regardless.
Yes.
And that is another thing. Like people keep saying, like that with like there's going to be a supply of foreclosed homes that hit the market, and I'm like, well, where are they? Like where are they going to get these supposed foreclosed homes? I'm curious, like where
Yeah.
are they coming from?
So and with that, so people say that, I hear that all the time too. Actually, I had a
Mhm.
couple come in town from Ohio, come to the Charlotte area, and looking at homes, and we're like, "Hey, show me the foreclosures," and I'm like, "Those don't exist.
Yeah.
those don't exist." And think about it: if anybody's going through the foreclosure process now, let's say they're late or behind, they get the notice of default. That means you're either 90, typically 120 days past. You haven't made a payment in that time frame. If you get that notice of default now, and you're in the foreclosure process, but you're not going to get foreclosed on for at least another 3 to 6 months in the earliest.
Hmm.
And during that time, you can just sell outright for it's still going to be a huge profit right now.
Hmm.
So it's like, why would you wait to get foreclosed on when you can just make a profit and sell it the ordinary way?
I don't know. Then I
Yeah.
don't. I don't know. I mean, like anytime
Yeah.
our area here where I live,
Yeah.
we had a I would say housing correction. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
had homes that did increase quite a bit during the last like the housing boom, but it was never like the rest of the United States where they
Yeah.
had like ridiculous amounts of money. So when the financial like collapse of the housing market, there were some people that got in over their heads, but it
Yes.
wasn't like the other areas. There were some people that did short sales that really probably shouldn't have, but they didn't want to go through the whole process because they were already behind on some
Yeah.
payments, and they were like, well, they already accepted a short sale, they're going to go ahead and do it. So I'm sure there's going
Mm-hmm.
to be some like that. I will
Yes.
say though, if you are looking for a foreclosure and you're like really interested and you don't want to have to fight with investors for it, I've always talked about HUDhomestore.org
Yes.
or HUDhomestore.gov. Either
One of
one.
the two, just Google HUD Home Store
Right.
and go to there's a couple that may pop up because there's some, not scams,
Don't go to
but
the ad. Go to the
yeah,
free
there's
one.
some, exactly. You don't have to pay for this information. Go to
Right.
the free one because there is one where they ask you to pay $1 or $7 and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't do that.
It got me about 10 years ago or so. I think it got me. I paid that money and I was like, why? So yeah.
The CC Moon says, "Sir, bring back the 2010 prices. Crash for me is 50%."
Yeah.
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 And what you got
Um,
there, Eddie? That's not it. You got the wrong. You got the wrong one there, Putty.
Somebody asked about an investment property a little while ago. Should they buy now or wait?
Uh-huh.
Um, it depends on the price, but I say wait it out. There will be more opportunity as inventory. I believe inventory will build up a little bit, and you'll be able to get a better deal. But again, I don't know what the deal is right now in your area, but I think you'll be able to negotiate once people start feeling sellers feel a little bit more pain and their homes don't sell within the first week, which
Mm-hmm. And they
sounds
do.
crazy, right? But
Some people panic man.
Yeah,
As soon
yeah,
as they're like, oh, good old Aunt Karen sold her house in like,
yeah.
10 minutes. And I've already
Mhm.
had the house on the market for 72 hours. And I've only had, 10 showings a day. And it's the third day. And so there's no offer. So I'm going to drop
Yeah,
it $30,000, which is a
yeah.
perfect opportunity for you. Like, go in, like they're already scared. So start asking for those things, you
Hmm.
know, as for the things that used to be normal, like, I don't know, an inspection on your house. I don't know, like a
Yeah,
10-day
yeah.
inspection period. Like, wow, we could have that again, which is a good thing for you as a buyer,
It's a
Um,
very good thing. But one thing I will have to, so buyers out there, make sure you're positioning yourself to be able to act, in the sense of when there is a recession, which we're, whoever you want to talk to or whatever, either we're in a recession or about to go
happening.
into a recession. But whenever
They're
there's
always
a
late to the game.
tightening,
The Fed's late saying when it's going to, if we're in a recession. All right,
yeah,
go ahead.
whenever there's a tightening, they're lending money and banks become more stingy in giving away their money.
Hmm.
So they put on overlays on who can get qualified for a mortgage.
Hmm.
So since you did not buy a home in the past, 2.5, 3 years, hopefully you've been working on your credit, getting your down payment together so you can be in position to act.
Hmm.
One of my coaches always told me, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I hope you're just in position
He
to
never
to
wore makeup.
act.
He never wore makeup.
That I would have to say he did not. He did,
He never wore
however,
makeup.
he did. We're totally off subject. He didn't wear makeup, but he introduced me to manicures. He got his nails done, and then I went a couple times, and I felt I love my getting my nails done as well. So yeah, yeah. So totally
Yeah,
off
okay,
subject.
yeah,
Totally
you
off
got to
subject.
be ready. You're right. You're right. You got to be ready. But
Yeah.
like this is when people panic. And
Yes.
if you are in the market of buying a house, you can feed people this panic. And these are the kinds of things even real estate agents are very victim to headlines, So when
Very
you're
much
writing,
so.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you can write an offer if you're thinking about buying a house, and they'll say, well, how come you came in at asking price? I was looking for offers over, and they're like, you can easily say, have you gotten any other offers?
Hmm.
Have you not read a headline recently? I mean, market isn't the same as it used to. I mean, if you really want to sell your house, this would be the best time. I mean, who knows? You could lose another 10 to 20,000 if you wait more days. And then you get in their head, right? You're getting
Yep.
in their head. So
And say, hey, the Fed's about to raise the rates. Interest rates are going to go up even more. That means less buyers are going to be able to
mhm,
qualify for that home. And think about it. I know everybody that watch aren't isn't like studying the market every single day and everything. So think about it. A lot of people joined. A lot of real estate professionals joined the industry in the past 2, 3 years, thinking it was just easy money, which it sort of was. You just put a house up for sale and it sold without any work. Um, but so those people aren't really keen on, a lot of them aren't keen on what's going on in the day to day, even in their own market. So they don't realize that days on market here in the Charlotte area went from zero point 0.4 to now zero point 0.4 months to zero
mhm,
point 0.7 months. So it
mhm.
has gone up, but by no means is it I mean, it's still less than a month, right?
Right, it's still less
So
than a month.
yeah.
So, like, for instance, we had a 1 month supply of houses.
Mhm.
Now we have a 1.3 supply of a month's houses,
Yep, yep.
and we are seeing uh, home builders bring back closing costs, right?
Yes, they're bringing back
So,
closing costs. They are throwing in incentives. They're offering to lower rates, like rate buy downs. They are
mhm.
getting creative. Actually,
Because they're scared too. If
they
you
are
listen
definitely
to
scared.
them,
Yeah, yeah.
I would listen. I go
Hmm.
into these rooms and I listen to home builders, and they're freaking out. And I'm like, you haven't lost anything. You
Yeah.
already have a bunch of pre-solds. You're not going to build any more than you have to. What are you freaking out for? And they're like, we're just going to go ahead and slash these prices. I'm like, good for the buyers. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that is happening in the Charlotte area,
Yeah.
and I talk to a lot of new home reps daily, and they are not, I wouldn't say freaking out, but they're definitely feeling it. They're definitely feeling it to where they have to add incentives. They're gonna probably bring back, well, for the past what, 4 years, when you bought a home, they didn't come with blinds or appliances, right? It was just wasn't,
Oh, you mean like no washer? There's
no
no
washer, dryer, no
right,
refrigerator,
right,
and
refrigerator.
then
But
even
like you
even
still got a
windows
stove and a
coverings.
microwave and
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
The
You got a stove,
detached components.
microwave. Yes. You can't buy a home in North Carolina without a stove. So
Right.
you had a stove, you had a microwave, but you didn't get a refrigerator. You didn't have a washer dryer. There was no
Correct.
window coverings. I
That's here.
believe that's all going to come back. Just to sweeten the
When?
pot. I'm starting to see different incentives coming back. So I say, if it continues on the trend we're in right now, I
Hmm.
say first quarter next year, maybe even
Okay.
later this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just seen like just like 3,000 in closing costs for homes that are over 350,000, which is nothing really in the grand scheme of the things. It's like a drop in the bucket. But the fact that they're even doing it, makes me go, hmm, yeah, that's something to look out for. Definitely 100%. And those kinds of incentives are good for somebody that's looking for a home, especially if it's their first home and they need a little bit of closing costs. So
I'm
there's always these things though that the home builders that do. I hate that you have to use their lender in order to get those closing costs. And you know what? I want you to do me a favor if you're looking at this. You're like, well, the builder's going to give me 3,000 in closing costs. Take that whole plan that they have that they've written down for you. Take that offer and take it to another lender and say, hey, can you match this or explain this to me? Are they really giving me 3,000 in closing costs? Because in most cases they're not. They're
no.
tucking that $3,000 somewhere else. You're paying for it. So just be careful. It's what I'm
I'm
saying.
I'm
Listen to
glad you
your
mentioned.
mother.
Yes, no, definitely listen to you. I'm glad you mentioned that. And I was pulling up some stuff on my computer just now because I know I saw one where a builder in the area is offering 10,000 in closing, up to 10,000 in closing costs. But the one
Mhm.
I just pulled up, it was 6,000 toward closing costs for homes in the 3 to 500,000 price point.
Mhm.
So pretty much all your closing costs are good, say 3/4, if not all of your closing costs, they're offering to pay. And I didn't tell you this, Kristina. I just passed my national mortgage brokers exam.
That does not
So
surprise me. Congratulations. Everybody give Sir Ashley a
yes,
round of applause. We're going to give you a round
thank
of
you, thank you,
applause. I think
thank
it's
you.
so funny when I do this.
So,
I
so
do.
I don't necessarily want to be a mortgage broker by any means.
Right.
However, I wanted to know the ins and outs of the system. Just like I
Right.
got to see the interworkings of the justice system as an attorney and how,
Injustice.
yeah, how the dirty sides of it, like what really
Right.
happens back there, right? And I wanted to be able to see what was going on in the mortgage industry. And yeah, the way the builders make you get pre-approved with their lender and then offer these different, I don't know, incentives and different
Mhm.
things, it really is like they're just taking money out of one umbrella
Robbing
and putting in
Peter
the
to pay
other.
Paul.
Exactly. So you're not, so the consumer, for the most part, the buyer isn't really getting any benefit, but it sounds good.
Right. Back in the day, no, I'm not going to say when I was a teenager. I was in my 20s, but there was there were at that time those builders would have literally done cartwheels in the front yard, like right after the last housing crash. And I saw this was when they were giving real incentives, right? That
Hmm.
they were willing to give you the 6,000 in closing costs just for you to buy their house. They were upgrading flooring if they had it on. Like they're like, if it's in our showroom and we have it, we'll upgrade your flooring, so then you were like getting
Hmm.
real wood floors, and they were giving you like you said, the refrigerator, the washer, the dryer. They were willing to paint your garage for you. I mean,
Oh
like,
wow.
they were doing all sorts of stuff for you to buy the house, because they needed to get this inventory off their lots. I don't think we're anywhere near that yet. I
No.
don't think that's going to be the case. I just don't. the only thing I can think, and I keep saying this over and over, and I'm going to continue to say this, is I believe that we're not going to be seeing a housing crash unless there's a problem with the jobs market. We just don't have any shadow inventory anymore. We can't make enough houses. It's been reported in some cases we're short 7.2 million affordable houses, and then other reports it's about 5.5 million affordable homes in the United States. So we don't have enough homes.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned affordable homes. Affordable homes. It is one, you bring it to light and to attention that it's just a lack of affordable homes in general. And what you're going to see is home prices in America keep going up for the sheer fact that building costs are increasing, land prices are increasing. So the builders per se, and this is directly from the horse's mouth, not like I'm not reading an article. I talk to a lot of builders on a weekly basis. It doesn't give them any incentive to build that $250,000 or $300,000 property. They're like, we have to build, for their numbers, right? They don't have to, but for their numbers to get the profits they want, right? They have to do upper threes, or a lot of them said we have to start at 4. Like that's the floor now, 4. So, and so long as you keep seeing that coming to market, and there's not going to be any of that lower, affordable home, the average or median price in America will keep going up because you don't have that inventory.
Well, I mean, and like, if any reflection of what happens to what we call small affordable homes, look at California. Their market continues to go up and up and up. They do not have enough houses. So you're buying like a shoebox, and they're saying that's $500,000 for this slice of America, and of course we're not on that scale yet. Not even like in my area, we're not like that. Most areas aren't like that.
No, most areas aren't like that. No, but even in the Charlotte area, a home that is selling for about $400,000 right now sold 3 years ago. It is depressing for like $280,000, $290,000.
Wow.
And it is like the same exact model. They haven't changed the floor plan. They haven't done anything. It's just the same home, about 1,700 square feet, 3-bedroom, sometimes 4, depending how they configure it. No real yard. It's like a Charleston style, almost looks like a townhouse or a row house, but it's a single family home. And that's what you're getting, unfortunately, if you want brand new.
CC Moon says, have you guys noticed more city state employees recently being asked to go more days in the office? I was told it would to be in the office 3 times a week in July. That depends on the company. Some companies have been saying they want people back in, but I don't think they're like full time. Some companies are saying just come back twice a week. Some are saying 3 times a week, but they're not like 5 days a week. It keeps their bills down, honestly. They don't have to run the air as much,
There's certain companies in the Charlotte area. Charlotte is the retail banking capital of the United States. Bank of America wants people back full time, 5 days. Wells Fargo, on the other hand, they're like 3. You got to be there 3 out of 5, but they don't really hold you to it. It's like an honor system. It's an honor code. You got to tell me you're there 3 days a week.
Nobody's got a little time in, clock in thing?
No.
Eddie, if you have any questions, we've been rambling. I didn't realize we've been rambling for 33 minutes. So if you want to throw some questions in there, we can. Eddie said, give her 1 sec. Oh, look, Trevor Smith, by the way, is a real estate agent
in Charlotte.
Who also has, Trevor Smith also has his finance.
His mortgage broker. He offers those. Trevor, me and you need to connect because I have clients that could benefit from the programs that you offer. It's similar to Ribbon, where you can offer cash, but those programs where you don't have cash, but you can offer cash because you qualify for his program. So definitely reach out to me, Trevor.
Ribbon,
yes.
Yeah. So a lawnmower says Dallas is banning Airbnbs in certain parts of the town. That's very common here. They did it in New Orleans a while back because the hotel industry was like, oh, no. This is how we make our living. Yeah, San Diego's doing it. Savannah, some areas around Savannah are doing it. No more Airbnb.
Yes.
No.
There's communities in Charlotte, the Charlotte
Mhm.
area that is doing it. The HOA themselves are restricting Airbnbs for because unfortunately it brought an unwanted presence. I know one community, if you're familiar with the Charlotte area, it's Berwick.
Mhm.
There's an Airbnb in the community, and there's always violence at it. Now, most Airbnbs, I'm not gonna go somewhere. I'm going to chill, but there's always violence. So they banned Airbnbs from being in that area, in that
Mr. H has
subdivision.
a good question. He says, "Why are so many realtors in denial about the House of Cards?" Like, because some of these prices, to me, in my opinion, have gotten to be absolutely ridiculous. I do not believe that some of the houses should have gone up $100,000 in the last 2 years. Like my old house, the value of my old house, I'm like, that house ain't worth it, And I do think we're going to have a correction in price. I think the whole thing is going to collapse? No, but the price increasing that we have seen, we're going to need to get back to some reality in my
Yes.
specific area. And this is where you're saying why so many are in denial, because it's market specific. So some real estate agents have seen the housing market go up and down 1,000 times, and they know what their market's going to do. So they'll flat out tell you there is no crash in their specific market because they know their market, and they're not seeing it right now, like I'm seeing home builders are giving closing costs. In your area, a lot of home builders are giving the middle paw patch, and they're telling you, "Oh no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. We're not giving you any closing costs." And
So
that's why it's so important that you pay attention. Yes, absolutely. Pay attention to what the headlines are saying. Read the whole entire article as it talks about the housing market. Then go to your local real estate agent and ask them, is this what it looks like for us? Can you pull me up some numbers? Can you show me what's in our MLS? How many houses are for sale? How long have they been sitting on the market? And honestly, it's called the hot sheet. It takes them 2.5 seconds to run that up and send it to you as an email. So,
yes, and also yes, ask for that data, but
mhm.
be careful who is advising you as well, because they may
Mm,
not know, right? They may be fair. I'm not saying because you're new in the industry you're not knowledgeable. By all means, I know some people that are new that are very very knowledgeable and know more than people that have been quote unquote practicing for 15 years.
mhm.
Um, but just make sure that they are active, not just knowledgeable, but active and can see what's on the what's going on the day to day, because even those reports, they're a month behind, right?
Right.
So the data is a little skewed to where last month it might have been one thing, but if you've been making offers, talking to people in the office, talking to colleagues, and just seeing things, you know what it is presently.
Right. And if your phone stops ringing, that's when you know you're feeling nervous. That is a horrible feeling, because it was like I felt like somebody turned off the light switch the last time. It went from phone call, phone call, phone call, and then was like, and I had got this new cell phone. It was this BlackBerry. I was very excited, and I'm like, is there something wrong with this?
Something's
It's
wrong with
not
this
working.
BlackBerry. Yeah.
Yeah, this was back in the
Um,
day. I was very
so
fancy. I had a cell phone.
And another another thing where you talk about agents being in denial.
Hmm.
In that article we pulled up by Logan, the Housing Wire article, he talks about how people were like the people that are purchasing homes,
Hmm.
the people that are purchasing homes, and how qualified they are.
Hmm.
The people this time that's different from 2008, they
Hmm.
have excellent, I'm willing to say, based on the article, excellent
Hmm.
credit, excellent assets. So the banks are doing their due diligence and making sure these people are well qualified. Now, granted, life events can happen to anybody, right? Anybody can lose a job and go through a
That's what I'm
divorce
saying.
and all that. Anything can happen. And so you don't need the whole market to tumble. You just need where
One
you're
house.
looking, one house where you're looking to find that seller that is quote unquote desperate or very motivated.
Scared.
And yes. So
Scared.
people ask, like, as an investor, because I'm an investor, like, well, how do you get these off market or no below value deals? Is because I don't mind swinging the bat 50 times to get a base hit. So I
Mhm.
don't
Get a
mind
lot of
swinging.
no's.
Get a lot of no's. Like no's are actually good to me because I'm like I'm closer to a yes.
Mhm.
So yeah.
You're good. Christine, it says, "Hey, Christina, how do you see rent prices in the nearby future?" Well, with the lack of supply of homes and what we've seen happen to rent in the last, every time I turn around, somebody else is telling me how much more they're paying in rent. I can't see it going down either. It says rent across the United States rose above 2,000 a month for the first time ever. That's the average across the United States. And then like before it was like 1250 before the pandemic, and
Yeah.
that was on average, and now it's over 2,000. I can't read that, Edward. I'm on this little tiny screen. He expects me to read it. Oh my God, here we go. Yeah, he says, "Why is my rent increasing to 22% this year?" I'm assuming that's what it says. I'm not even going any further. My 50-year-old eyes can't even read it. Forget it. I'm not doing it.
Why is the rent? His available apartments has rose 15% from a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
to over 2,000 a month for the first time. I will be totally transparent.
Mm-hmm.
If I was going into, if I got out of college or out of school and I saw that rents were absolutely were that these prices,
Mm-hmm.
I would be devastated. But what I would do is house hack. That's what I would do. I would house hack and get 3-4 bedroom
Mm-hmm.
and everybody chip in. That's the best way to do it.
Right, but there's some people, there's some areas. There was a place in Kansas
Mhm.
that made it illegal for you to have roommates in your
Oh,
house. Like
wow.
you couldn't like rent out rooms in your house. They made it illegal.
I would not live there then.
I wouldn't either. I would not either. I'd be
I would not
like,
live there.
I just
Yeah.
want to know who's the neighbor that's going to throw you under the bus for that. Like
Exactly.
who's the jerk that's going to do that to you?
I,
But you can, and here's the other thing.
I mean, right now I have roommates. They just don't pay rent. They're my
Well, you
kids.
birthed those people. You gave birth to them. That's different.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. Like, if you've ever had a roommate, and have you ever had a roommate? The
Yes. Yes.
roommates can kind of suck, like if we're going to be honest, they can really
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah.
And you got people that do not pay their rent, or they will pay their rent, but they won't pay for the electricity and they won't pay for the water, and you have to
Mhm.
constantly babysit those people, and their grown rear end butts will not pay their bills, so that kind of stinks. I don't know if you really want to. Some people aren't cut out for that. Some
That is
people aren't
true.
cut out for that.
That
So
is true. So know who you're getting in bed with. The next
getting in a
room
home
next
with,
door. Yeah.
yeah,
Know who you're going to be next door to in the
right.
next room. Um,
And you can't sublet a room in an apartment that you signed a lease for. You can't here in the state of Louisiana. So if you have a lease of an apartment and you're the name on it, you can't have like an extra room and then sublet that room to somebody else. They have to be on the lease.
wow.
You can't do that. So
Wow.
know your contract with your lease that you're
Yes.
signing. So
Yes.
Mary says, "I see a correction coming, but I don't think it is significant with some of the foreclosures, uh, specifically secondhand vacation homes due to job loss, etc." One thing I will say, because we touched on this earlier, there were a lot of people that did buy Airbnbs like around Orlando, in the Florida area. If some of those houses went on the market just because people are like, well, they're just not booking as many homes now because of the inflation and recession and all this, sell the sucker. They're not losing anything, And if we got some more like 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses on the market for people, that isn't a bad thing for the market, for anybody, really, honestly. The seller is going to make some money off of it. And the people that need a house are going to be thankful that they finally found a house,
Yeah. We had a question from Sage talking about her realtor and what can
Mhm.
she do to get out of her contract. Just email your realtor. Tell them, like, I want to terminate. I would like to terminate services, our contract, and they should be able to let you out of it without a problem. No realtor that I know is gonna make you work with them.
Some are
Just
salty, though.
they,
Oh, no, sir, Ashley, some are salty. And another way to get out of it is to
Mhm.
go ahead and call their broker and say,
Yes.
Right. So say you work with Jan Smith, the real estate agent, and Jan Smith is dropping the ball. You can't stand her. She doesn't answer your phone and you're done. So you go to Jan Smith, and Jan Smith works for a brokerage. Right. The name is underneath her that she works for ABC Realty. Right. So you call ABC Realty and you ask for the main number and you say, may I speak to the broker of this real estate office? And somebody will connect you. And that's who you talk to and say, I want to get out of this. Jan Smith has not been working well with me. I want to get rid of her. And in some cases, the broker will say, can I handle your transaction? If you don't want to work with them, you say, I understand that you would like to keep this sale, but I do not feel comfortable with it. I just want to get out of this agreement. And then you can move on.
You can move on. And it's I mean, people get salty and everything. That's that's fine. But it's just real estate. I mean, I've fired people. I'm sure I've had people not want to work with me. It just is part of your personality, and who you are isn't going to click with everyone, right?
Some days I can't even stand myself, so I get it.
Yeah, like it's just not going to work. So it's one of those things to where you're not tied into it, Sage. Just let them know and be upfront and just honest with them. Like, look, it's not working out. I would like to go a different route, and they should. And if they don't, contact like Kristina said, their broker in charge and get out of it.
So our producer Eddie is going to get my kid. You can see him right there. He's going to go get the kid. So he normally does the questions. So everybody, this is going to be your rapid fire question time because Eddie's not going to be doing it. So I now am paying attention to the chat.
Oh, on the chat and the small screen.
It says Peter. Peter says, I've been hearing whispers that the mortgage-backed securities went no bid briefly on Friday. Your thoughts, Sir Ashley? This is on you.
So I don't want to let the cat out the bag. I've actually talked to some people about this in Washington, and I will have a video coming out about it to be able to speak intelligently about what's going on with the mortgages and Fannie and Freddie and the secondary market and everything like that. It's too early to tell. I don't like what's happening, but it's going to get tougher to buy a home. So for obviously it's going to get tougher for investors. It's already tougher. They've already made it very stringent for investors to buy and less incentive for the average person. So that's why I was harping, even though, yes, prices were going up, to buy when those interest rates were at the 2s, 3s, 4s. And there were very low overlays for you to get approved. It's going to be very hard. And hearing people talk about being stuck paying, it wasn't $2,000, but even $1,800, $1,900 in rent every month, it's tough to hear. And trying to see them try to get qualified is going to be a challenge.
I have a friend who's paying $3,000 in Austin now. It was $2,000. Now they're paying $3,000. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That is a lot. Like, and people say, well, if I have a mortgage, it's not, if I have a 30-year fix, it's not guaranteed. My taxes may increase. Yes, it may increase. It's not going to increase $1,000 in 2 years. So it's crazy.
Chuck, I'm going to go back to your question. Just wanted to ask the question first. This is, how is the process for buying land and is the interest rate higher than buying a home? The process for buying a land is going to be fine as long as you're working with a real estate agent that understands the piece of land that you're buying. So you have to understand the purpose for your piece of land. And if you end up buying a piece of land and you can't use it for the purpose that you wanted to, like let's just say build a home or put a manufactured home on it, then your land that you purchased, in your opinion, is worthless. But so make sure you work with a real estate agent that understands what it is to have a piece of land and what you need to do, what you are buying is for the use that you need it for. The second thing is, yes, but land interest rates are always higher than a house. Yeah.
Typically, when you buy land or want to do a construction loan, you do it in two parts. You do the construction part, and then once you get the final loan, you get a takeout loan is what they call it, and then just like normal financing. But the first one is a little bit more expensive.
Right. So you can roll in the
Mhm.
construction loan in with your purchase, and then you have a 30-year afterwards.
Yeah.
Yep. Chuck Orlando says, "How many folks are still not how many folks are still not affected? When do you think this will affect the well-heeled, or do you think it never will?"
Yeah.
I don't get this.
I think he's asking, like, so with everything going on in just the economy, that's how I'm taking it. In the economy
Hmm.
and everything, who is still coming through unscathed? Like, who's perfectly fine? Who still has all their
Rich,
savings and all that?
rich
So
people.
yeah, so what I see happening is it's going to be it is becoming a very much a K-shaped recovery, to
Hmm.
where the wealthy is going to continue getting
Hmm.
such, and then the people that were quote unquote middle class
Hmm.
are gonna be going the opposite way. That's what I foresee happening, and that is why I was harping to how do you secure, you know, wealth.
How do you offset inflation, and how do you secure wealth? Real estate.
Real estate. That's why I was
How do
harping on everybody when you
corporations
could
do it?
buy
Yes.
real estate. Because
I
the people,
know.
the middle class is gonna go. It's gonna be one. The haves are gonna get more, and the have-nots or borderline middle class is gonna be have-nots.
Well,
Um,
that's why I always whine about the corporate investors and how they're advertising their homes to people in the below millennial age, like the younger millennials to Gen Z, like how they're like saying, "Oh, you don't want this.
you don't
This is
want
not
this. You don't
what you
want
want.
this.
This isn't the life you want because it's going to cause you problems. I mean, you're going to like the roof could go bad or the air conditioning go bad, and that can cost you tens of thousands. But if you rent from us and you rent a house, you're renting the lifestyle you always want. You don't have to worry about all that nonsense of painting a room or
It
homeowners
is.
insurance. You've heard how expensive that is. You don't want to do that. They
It's
made it
a
sound like it's
awful.
vilified what a owning a home is. So they keep these people as renters instead of homeowners, which is
Where
disgusting in
you
my
will own nothing and be happy.
opinion.
Um, where I'm telling people, like, you should just buy when you
Mhm,
can. Do what the wealthy, even if you aren't wealthy or whatever, as soon as you can, do what they do, because
mhm,
that's how they insulate themselves.
mhm.
So, and there was no better time than when interest rates were in the twos, um, while everybody else was saying, wait for a crash.
I, I was scared at the beginning of the pandemic. You heard me say
Well,
it.
interest rates weren't at the twos in the beginning, but yeah, no,
Yeah, I know, but I was
yeah,
scared. I
yeah,
thought we were gonna fall apart. Honestly, I
yeah.
was scared. I was scared.
No. It's, we may we may fall apart. It won't be because of housing though.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We may fall apart.
All right.
Um,
Serenity Cow says, question, confused by housing shortage. What does that truly mean? Has pop grown that much since 2008? We've built a lot since then. Investor problem. What's the data? Are we just not? Are we just reading headlines? This is so like, honest to God, this is a quick Google search, so you know that I'm not manipulating any data. Just go in and look how many new homes have been built since the last housing crash and compare that to every other year for new home builds, right? And then I want you to look at the price per square foot or price for those new home builds since 2008, because they're not building homes for the the whatever you want to call it, the nuclear family, I guess. So,
yeah.
like they're not building 3-bedroom, 2-bath, little tiny houses on, like where everybody can fit in the neighborhood. They're building triple stack houses, like
Mhm.
basement, 2-story, 3-story houses, so they can get as much square footage on that postage stamp lot so they can make as much money as they possibly can. They're not going to build 1,500 square feet when they can build 3,000 square feet and make twice as much money. It sucks. But I will say this, and I don't talk about politics much, but this is a policy that came out from Biden about 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it was addressing affordable housing, and they were going to give incentives and land they were going to release some government land that would have less restrictions so home builders could cut through the red tape and start building more affordable homes.
Yeah.
And they were going to work with a lot more modular home companies or panelized construction
Mhm.
companies so they could get these homes even built faster for more affordable homes. at a discounted rate, like basically like at cost. So that way that these builders could get it done quickly. We will see if it all happens. All of that stuff looked really good, but just like anything, it all looks good. It doesn't mean anything unless it's
So
passed.
unless it's passed, and if you want, again, we don't talk about politics often or
Mm-hmm.
much at all. But if you want things to change or things to happen, let it
Mm-hmm.
be known. Talk to your local representatives, the people
Mm-hmm.
that represent your state. Like, let it be known and listen to them and see what if they're going to implement or say they're going to implement what you want, and then
Mm-hmm.
vote that as opposed to whatever party.
I'm going through these questions. Juan, man, you asked the same question 18 times. I got you. It's going to be higher. The interest rate's going to be higher for land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stefan says, how is investing in rural communities, 10,000 populations and out west in the Rockies? How is investing in rural communities? That's going to depend on the rural community, just like anything, location and the infrastructure itself. You're going to have to do a lot of research on your own and with your real estate agent. But if you're going to do that specific thing, you're going to work with, building a lot of homes. I would work with a commercial real estate agent so that way you get it done right, especially in a rural area. What do you say, my friend, Sir
I
Ashley?
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. It is it's one of those things, investing in rural communities. Now that community itself, because we have a lot of rural areas in the Carolinas. So you have to just look and see. I know this is not out west, but look and see what is the projected growth projections.
Mm-hmm.
It could be you can get in very cost effective right now. It could be very affordable or relatively affordable, and knowing that it's projected to grow and seeing the population, how it increases, could be a great investment. But if you don't do that research up front, it could be an awful investment. So you just got to make sure and see where the growth pattern is going. What I look at is one, you can go down to the county and check different things out and see who's moving where, what companies are buying land.
Mm-hmm.
I like to go. I follow Walmart and I follow McDonald's and Starbucks. They've already done the market research as far as population growth. While those are big companies, what they really are the biggest real estate investors in America.
Mm-hmm.
If you never, they see where the population is going. So follow those companies, if you ask me.
I have to tell you this because every time I hear rural, I can't. I have this in my head. I used to not be able to say the word rural. I couldn't say it, so it come out rural, rural, rural. No, I can say rural now. I worked on that.
No, there's certain things I can't say. I just
Weird.
avoid. I just avoid it. I'm like, oh, okay. I just skip it.
Yeah, more of a small town. We don't have to say rural. We can say small town. I do find filler words. If I can't think of the word, I'll do that. Question here in the Central Valley at New York, hedge funds are buying entire subdivisions.
Mhm.
This is true to rent the houses. Is this going to be bad for real estate? It's going to be bad for people that are trying to purchase a home, especially in the first time home buyer range.
Because those are the homes that would be first time home buyers. That's
Right.
happening a lot in the Charlotte area. Build for rent. A lot of these builders, I know a couple in the area, they aren't building large subdivisions for consumers. They're really building them for hedge funds and corporations to rent out every single one of them. It's a depressing because I get excited. I got excited one time. I'm like, man, it's going to be 150 townhomes. It's going to be amazing. And it was in an area that would have been affordable in the Charlotte region. And next thing you know, I called the builder and they're like, yeah, a hedge fund bought all of them and they'll be rentals.
Right. And
So,
here's one thing that you as a audience member need to understand. If you do not want this happening in your area, you can go before the houses are even built, because every single developer and builder has to face the people in the area. They can't just decide on a whim to do this. They have to go there and state in that meeting, like, look, they can build this subdivision, but they have to make it so that only 10% of the houses can be sold to investors, or they can't sell the whole entire neighborhood out to investors. Like, you can make stipulations before the neighborhood is even scraped to the ground, or before they've even cleared out the first tree. So that way your neighborhoods remain with individuals and not with investors. You have that ability to do that. Not only that, if you're in an older neighborhood, you can always add an addendum to your HOA. So if you're in an HOA, you can make a vote saying that no more than 20% of the community can be owned by a or rented out.
Yeah, rent it out. Yep.
In our neighborhood, my neighborhood's like that. You can't have more than X amount of houses that are considered renters houses.
There was this happened maybe right before the pandemic. I had a sale. I was actually listing the home, and somebody came in. It was an investor, offered an amazing price for my client, and we got to title, got under contract, went to title. Attorney did the research, and the community was at the cap. We couldn't sell it to them. So we had to end up putting the house back on the market, and my client did not get as good of an offer because, one, it was cash and it was well over ask. But so there are communities, at least in the Carolinas and throughout the country, that have rental caps on it to where it does benefit the homeowner. I mean, owner occupants. But if you're a seller, you might not like that because you're taking away competition.
Yeah, well,
I'm with you. Those are the breaks sometimes, right?
I've been questioned. I have been above for over 450. Yet I don't want the realtor to know that I have that much credit because they started showing me more expensive homes. Oh, I gotcha. So she's got an approval for more than that. The thing is that, like, this is one of those times you should, if you don't trust your real estate agent to know how much you can afford to buy,
you don't need to be working with
a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Your real estate agent is you're supposed to be your friend into the end, all the way to the end of time. If you're working with somebody and it is not going the way you want to, and you don't trust them to tell them how much exactly you're going to be approved for, that is time for you to find a new real estate agent. Because that's part of their job. You could, like, a person could come up to me and say, look, I'm approved for 500,000, but I don't want to see a house over 300. And I'm like, okay, what if I put 310 just in case, that way that when the house comes down, you could at least negotiate it down. They're like, oh, okay, that's fine. You should be able to have those conversations and your real estate agent listen to you. And if they're not doing that, move on. Yeah. There's a million real estate agents out there. I think there's more real estate agents than there are houses for sale.
That is true. That is 100% true right now. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. If you don't trust, your real estate agent is supposed to be your advocate, supposed to be one looking out for your best interest. And if you don't believe that they're going to do that, it's time to sever that relationship.
Cat's Crazy Life with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. There's no comment on it. They just wanted to give me a super chat.
Nice. Because you're amazing.
Yeah, look at this. Diamond Rush Media, $20 super chat. Check it out, man. And you know what? We have 666 people watching right now.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Wow, I didn't even realize that.
I know. Look at that.
And who would have thought, like, with our rough start, that we look at us.
You know what? I think that's the joy of a live stream, honestly, is just to see things go south,
Like, how will they F this up right now?
Yes, and I did it. Kristina did
it. I did it as well. I disappeared. So
whatever. You're still my best friend. Question: how do I get a house or land when you make only $2,400 a month, and I am a beekeeper and a farmer trying to get back into beekeeping and farming? I live in an apartment complex with my wife and child. Okay, so I don't know if you're a what they call a stated income employee, or if you're working for a company that gives you a W-2. All of these things that you're asking really need to be asked by a lender, and they could tell you exactly how much you're approved for. Because even if I said, oh yeah, you could totally do this, I don't know your debt to income. I don't know what your debt to income is. So I think the right thing for you to do is go down to your local credit union, or if you know of a local lender in your area, and ask them to pull your credit, your and your wife's credit, and see how much you could qualify for. Because you might end up finding something you could get for a lot less than renting currently. Yeah. You might, who knows? And plus, if people are looking at these headlines and they're really scared, you might get yourself a really good deal. You might get some closing costs.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, it really comes down to your debt to income and to make sure and your credit score. So check those two things out. Everything Kristina said, talk to a local lender and see where you can qualify for.
I'm looking for the questions. See, this is why it's good to
I
have
just
the
saw a $50 super chat. I mean,
$5.
no, $49.99.
No way. No way. What is someone being crazy?
Doug, thank you, Doug.
Oh, Doug Stufflebean. He is the coolest last name in the whole entire world. And
Yes.
I look, listen to you. Like there's 647 people watching and 2 people on Facebook. Okay, here's the deal. I have a super secret thing happening on Monday.
You gonna let us know?
I'm gonna give you a hint. It's little and it goes in my backyard.
It's finally happening. It is happening. Yes.
Yeah. It's part of the audio problem today is that we're trying to move things to be prepared for the next phase of the real estate show here. So things are going to start looking a lot different by next Sunday. But next Sunday, if you don't know this, next Sunday is Father's Day. Did you know that, Sir Ashley?
I was not aware, but I live in a bubble. People like every day is like the same day to me. That's what my team says. That's what my family says. Like it, I love what I do, so I don't. Every day is pretty consistent. So I don't. Yeah, I didn't know.
One sends a forgiveness $5 super chat. Thank you, Juan. I appreciate you. Doug Stufflebean has the coolest last name I've ever heard. Yes, Doug Stufflebean. If you haven't yet, make sure that you do the thing for your father. If you haven't in the people in the chat, like go get your dad something.
Yes.
Even dads are cool with gift cards. Moms are not. Dads are totally cool with gift cards. Gift cards. We
prefer gift cards over we appreciate the thought, but just give me a gift card. Because I'm not gonna use whatever you got me probably.
I know. Like I'm trying to get this. Okay. So like the people that are members are going to get a sneak peek of what's going on in the behind the scenes of the Smallhorn house. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to be on next week. If not, if we are going to be on next week, it's just going to be me because Eddie wants to grill on the back porch and I can't ask the man to handle the chat. I think it's kind of wrong, and I probably should have a lady on here next week. So if anybody has some suggestions of a female real estate agent that would like to come on the show, we could talk about the housing crash. And why do you think some people keep emphasizing that there's a housing crash? There's a crash imminent, like it's inflation, securities, all these things.
It feeds into our nature. Like there's a reason why tabloids are at the front of the grocery store, right? Like it just into the negativity and reason why news and salacious stuff sells. Like it feeds into it. But even a lot of those articles or even some of those videos, they come with that headline. But then once you peel back the layers, it's like, oh, they just wanted me to read. It's not even doom and gloom. So it just depends on
I always am honest with my audience. And if I felt like the sky was falling in real estate, I have no skin in the game if you ever buy a house or you don't. Most of the people that are watching are not even in my real estate market. So it doesn't behoove me to lie to you. And I want to be able to sit here a month from now and say, I didn't lie to you. The market's still standing strong. And I really want to my reputation means something to me. And when I'm wrong about something, I'm openly admit, look, I was wrong about this. And here's the reason why I felt like this. And this is the reasons why I was wrong. I will continue to remind you why I was wrong. I do it. I can't help it because I have integrity for my profession, but it doesn't behoove me in any way, shape or form to tell you that's all falling apart. Yes. So,
Construction Cronies, thanks for being a new member. Please, I'm a member of Kristina's channel. Please go ahead and sign up for a membership. You'll get some sneak peeks this coming week. So yeah.
I know it starts tomorrow. I'm so excited. so excited. I'm crawling out of my skin. I'm so excited. I feel like a kid on Christmas. I rarely get excited about things. This is gonna be some stuff. Like people that are members, I'm gonna do like secret live streams, for my cell phone. The quality is gonna be awful, but you're gonna see the whole 9 yards when it's getting. We're gonna see it.
I'm excited myself. I'm excited.
So, all right, my friend, I want to let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. Look at this. People are super chatting. Thank you so much. Killian with $5 super chat. I feel like superstar today.
You are a superstar.
Oh, for God's sakes, whatever. You're the one with royalty. Sir Ashley, how do people get a hold of you, sir?
You can go to my YouTube channel, Real Estate Advisor, Sir Ashley. I put my number on my YouTube channel. Feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, 704-775-1236. I am always accessible to the chagrin of my daughter at times. So yeah.
Sir Ashley.
Yes.
What's Jenny's number?
Jenny?
Oh, you're not that old that you don't know who Jenny is? Hey, everybody in the audience, what's Jenny's number? I bet everybody in here can write it.
I'm looking to see where we at.
I bet everybody in here knows it. Oh my
gosh. I'm gonna say it's about 40% does not know it.
40% will know Jenny's number. My audience will know Jenny's number. I guarantee flip into you. My audience.
We got a question mark from Justin.
Oh no. Yeah, there we go. 8675309. 8675309.
Yes. Okay. I should have known. I should have known Jenny's number.
Totally had nothing to go off of real estate. Sir Ashley, thank you so much. Thank you to the 666 people that showed up to the live stream and put up with this nonsense that I had going on today. Mr. Stuffle Bean, thank you so much for the big, giant $50 super chat. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the new members that have showed up today because you guys are going to get the sneak peek what's going on here at the Smallhorn house. So, all right, everybody, you have a fantastic day. If I did miss your question during the chat because I was running it by myself, please, after this is over with, put it in the chat itself, and I will be answering them throughout the week. So we'll see you next Sunday, everybody. Happy Father's Day, Sir Ashley. Happy Father's Day to everybody. We'll see you next Sunday. Yay! Da-da-da. Da-da-da.